Back with the NTC3s. I'm going to go ahead and get this one built. This is how I got it, and it was missing some of the screws and some of the braces for the arms. So I went ahead and I got this parts lot used because it has what I need right there, and just if there's any other parts that go, like now I have some extra pins and an extra brake assembly. So I'm going to use these parts here to reassemble this. I'm also going to pull this engine, and this chassis is going to have this engine, so I have something to compare with my buddy Joe. So I'm actually going to use these wheels because here on the Tomahawk, the fixed toe, camber links have it running the wearing down the tread on the inside of the wheels on both the front and rear. And if you look at the NTC3, it's doing the opposite. Obviously I can adjust that here, but I can't adjust it on the Tomahawk. So what I'm going to do is actually just take these wheels off and put it on this NTC3 in order to get the proper wearing of the treads. So that's what's going on there. I also picked up these gears because I might convert one of these to single speed. So that way I have extra gears, and just in case any of these from the 2-speed strip, I'll have replacements there too. I was fortunate enough to score another Tomahawk in very good condition. So more on this later. But yeah. I also have something coming for this brand new engine, so we'll stay tuned on that. But for now, we'll go ahead and remove these wheels here, and we'll get started on this chassis here. I'll check back once I have things kind of buttoned up. Slight change in plans here, as I'm missing the top portion of this brace for the center drive shaft. I am also missing a wheel hex here and some screws to fasten down the rear end. So although I got some of the parts I needed to finish it, I don't have all of them. So what I'm going to do is install this engine on this chassis and just use parts from this one to complete that one. This one here also needs a new bumper. It's just a little wonkier than I care for. So this one's in good shape. Get that one on there. So yeah, we'll make a good car out of these two, and then figure out what's needed for completion of this chassis. So turns out there was a few screws and whatnot missing from that chassis. So I'm actually just gonna tear this one down and I'll have that for parts. This one's pretty clean, but the diffs feel like gritty, just like the single speed before I redid those diffs. So I will have to clean those. The 2-speed still feels real smooth. So not worried about those, but these are, especially the front one. The front one's real gritty. I could probably get away with leaving the rear, but if I'm gonna do one, I'm gonna do both, just so that we establish a nice baseline here. Still tinkering with the clutch system, and I really don't want to cut that shaft. I was just thinking about how Joe used this engine. He probably cut the shaft. I'm not sure. I'll have to talk to him about it. Yeah, if I'm gonna have to cut the shaft, I would rather use this engine because the shaft is already cut on it. Anyways. So yeah, that's where we are on the build progress here. I'm gonna clean this tank, put this one in there. I'll clean this one too, but I'll save that for a spare. Yeah. It's looking pretty good. Got that other front bumper on there. So, making some progress. I'm curious as to why this shaft is shorter here. You can see that this one was already cut. So unfortunately, I'm not sure I'll be able to use this engine with these cars like I planned. So we'll tear into these, get all this stuff cleaned up, and see what we can use from this OS stash. Before I get started working on these OS engines, I definitely need to just like clean off the workspace. It feels a little congested and cluttered to me, so it's time to clean this off before I can continue. So I was cleaning the space up and just kind of moving some stuff around, and I found an OS engine with a short shaft. So I'm going to tear that one down and use it for parts, because I don't really care to have that rear plate sealed with that putty stuff. So obviously the parts are okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and just swap the shafts here, so that way I can use this good engine here with the short shaft and install it in this here 2-speed. So this is the body I'm gonna go with, just to keep the Porsche theme going. And then And looking at my stuff, I realized, you know, I still had these engines that needed to be reassembled. I went ahead and got the gaskets they needed. This is from the RC10 GT2 project. So I'm gonna go ahead and get these engines reassembled too, see what's up with the pull starts, and you know, see what I can do to get this TC3 project finished and on to the next project, which is a electric conversion. So stay tuned because I'm looking forward to this. And yeah, so we'll finish this car here, rebuild a bunch of engines, disassemble this, and get this car rebuilt as well. I've got a pretty cool body idea for this. I may switch the engine as well, just seeing as I have plenty of stock engines. So we'll get that done, not necessarily in that order, but yeah. Glad I was able to, the silver lining of this is that I was able to find this short shaft for this OS engine. So fits like a glove. I was fortunate to get this to fit this good first try. So this is the body I'm going to go with. I'm actually just going to do it with all the stickers as it would be from the factory. So this will be interesting. Be nice to see. Obviously I did a wheel swap to closer resemble this. I am going to paint it silver, and yeah, some blue screws on there. Looks pretty good. Took me a few days to just, you know, locate all the parts I needed that were necessary to make this fit. I'm happy to finally put a good use to this pipe. I've had this for some time now. I had to shave down a very little bit off of this brace here just for clearance purposes. But yeah, this came out pretty well. I did notice when I was redoing the diffs that there was a broken brace here, so I did replace a couple of the braces. One of them being this chassis brace, and then the other one being underneath the diff where the A-arm pin support is. This is the parts actually here. I noticed when I was changing the diff that the pin went all the way through, and that's why. Because it just it busted there. And then this piece here, so replace those. But yeah, so this is a little progress update on the project. So come back in a couple days with this body painted. I'm glad that I decided to use this cool spoiler. That's gonna be really cool looking. Man, that looks good, especially with that engine. I decided not to put the decals on here. After I painted it, it was giving me Gone in 60 Seconds first robbery scene. I can hear Busy Child by Crystal Method right now. So I decided to leave it just like this. And I think that's a good choice. And that spoiler looks really cool. So I'm overall satisfied with this and how it came out. It recommends to do some cutting on the rear, but I think I'm just going to leave it. I'm going to see if I have any extra vent stickers that I can put on the back here, just to kind of complete the look of the rear. But yeah, I like the plain look on most of my cars, so I decided to continue that theme here. But yeah, this looks really good. Let's see how it looks next to the other two. Here they are, all next to each other. I think they look quite good. So yeah, that just about wraps this part of this project up. I went ahead and disassembled that other one. The diffs are in good shape. I gotta clean the shocks. I rebuilt these engines for the most part, but the backplate gaskets that I thought were gonna work didn't quite fit. I have these other ones for the Thunder Tiger. I'll go ahead and try those, so we'll see. The new engine is going to be going in this chassis. Absolutely gorgeous. More to come on that. And I've got a Hoonigan truck body that I'm going to paint differently, and I'm going to rebuild this. It's pretty dirty. So stay tuned. Next thing we'll do is we'll drive these. After that, we'll do some rebuilding. So yeah, thanks for checking it out. Until next time.